Hello everyone and welcome to Life Transformation UK. My name is Ben and today I wanted to talk about how to end your anxious spiralling or how to eliminate catastrophic thinking from your life. Now I don't know about you, but when I was suffering from anxiety a few years back, I would have catastrophic thinking all the time where a minor thing would go wrong, and from there I would build up this huge scenario in my mind about all the possible things which could kind of domino and go wrong as well. So let's take, for example, if I left my card at home, and normally I was never that far from home. I was living in London at the time, so you're never that far away from home if you're in London. But I would start to think to myself, well, what if I don't have any cash? Or what if I need to go get some emergency cash? What if something happens and I have to pay a fine on the spot, even though that never would happen? What happens if I see this tremendous opportunity and I can only get it right now? And what if this? What if this? What if this? And it would make me absolutely miserable, because sometimes I would spiral in that kind of direction that I've talked about, and then other times it would be a complete downward spiral as well. So I would forget to text a friend about something, and then suddenly in my mind, because I've forgotten to text my friend whatever it is that I was going to text them, I would think, oh, well, now they're going to think that I'm lazy, and because they think that I'm lazy, they won't want to hang out with me anymore. And if they don't want to hang out with me anymore, then we don't talk. And if we don't talk, then we're not friends. And then he or she will then talk to all of my other friends, and then they won't want to be friends with me anymore, and so on and so forth. And completely irrational, catastrophic spiraling. And that's how I was most days. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about the process that you can use to overcome your catastrophic spiraling and get that back under control. So the first thing you need to do is recognize what's happening. As soon as you start heading down that spiral, recognize what's going on. Right, this has happened, and because of that, I'm spiraling. Okay. That is step number one. As soon as you recognize that there is a problem, then you can start to fix it. Because if you don't admit that something is going on, you cannot fix the problem. It is as simple as that. So step one, recognize what's going on. Identify it as catastrophic thinking, anxious spiraling, whatever it is that you want to call it. The next thing you want to do is analyse what has caused the situation. So not just the event that has happened. So in the example that I brought up, the event was forgetting to text back my friend about something. So that's the event, and the meaning that I applied to that event was, they're going to think that I'm lazy, they won't want to be friends with me anymore. So what you need to do is analyse what has happened there, analyse the event itself, so what caused it, and more importantly, what caused me to apply that specific meaning to this specific event. Once you have that, once you know what has caused you to go down this spiral, you can then challenge the thoughts, and this is the big part of it. You have to treat your mind and your catastrophic thinking as if it is a criminal that the police are interrogating. And you want to try and poke as many holes in its alibi, in its backstory as possible, because you need to get to the truth of the situation. So in this situation, my thoughts are, I've not texted back my friend, they're going to think that I'm lazy. Okay, so why do you think that? Because this and this and this. Okay, and why do you believe that? Or because this happened in the past and this meant that. How do you know that that meant that? And just keep examining yourself and investigating and interrogating yourself. And over time you will get to the deep root of the problem, which in this case was a limiting belief that if I fail my friends in any way, they will abandon me, they'll leave me alone. And once I had gotten to that root, then I could address it. And you can dig as deeply as you want to go with this, or you can outsource this process as well. And when I say outsource this process, I mean you can get a friend to just continuously challenge that irrational thought. So get them to sit down with you for half an hour to an hour while they constantly cross-examine you on that specific thought spiral, especially if this is something that's coming up very, very often and is starting to interrupt with your complete life functioning, as it was doing for me. And this friend can just ask question after question after question, trying to dig to the root of the issue. Alternatively, you can do what I did, and I spent several £1,000s over the course of a year and a half with a therapist that I worked with almost every week. And one of the things that we worked on was my catastrophic thinking. And I would say, well, if I do this, then this will happen, and then this and this and this. And she would ask me time and time and time again, well, why do you think that, and why do you believe this, and what has happened in the past that has led you to assume that this will happen now? And over time, she broke through what the actual issue was, and once it was there, once it was out in the open, we could address it. Now, one of the key things to remember with this is that we all give our thoughts meaning. There is always the event that happens, and to your mind it is one thing, and to another person's mind it's another, and to yet another it has an entirely different meaning. So we all apply our own meaning to things that happen. So if you can separate the event from its meaning, then you have the opportunity to respond rather than react. Because if the event and the meaning are together, you will emotionally react to the situation. And an emotional reaction isn't always a bad thing, but it should never be the first thing that you go for. It should never be your first default option. So once you've separated the meaning and the event, you can observe the event itself and then choose the meaning that you want and choose how you're going to respond to it. And the final thing that I would recommend is self-compassion. Give yourself a break. Treat yourself like you are your best friend. And I've said this in videos in the past, and I'll continue to say it as well. You would not stand for somebody telling your best friend that because they've done this, these dreadful things are going to happen. You would not let that stand. Why would you let it stand with yourself? So treat yourself like your best friend and give yourself some compassion. Give yourself that kindness and that love that you need to get through what is happening here. So to summarize this, recognize first of all that you are going through an anxious spiral, that you are experiencing catastrophic thinking. Analyze what has caused it, then you can start to challenge it. Remember that we create the meaning for our thoughts. We create the meaning for events that happen. And if you understand that, then you can separate the emotion from the event and you can choose how you respond. And self-compassion is the final step in the process. Treat yourself like your best friend. Give yourself that compassion, that kindness and that love to get through whatever it is that is happening for you right now. So if you found this video useful, make sure to leave a like or a comment below and subscribe to the channel for more content. If you want to follow Life Transformation UK on social media, the link to the Facebook page will be down below. Head over there and like that page for more content and for regular giveaways as well. But otherwise, I hope you have found this video valuable, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.